SKOL'd to the bowl. Whole lot of SKOL'd gang on this one. Yeah. Hey. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what the team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't
What is going on, everybody? It is great to have you with us. This is a day in Mike's and Kyla. Good evening. The preseason is over. We have a preseason bye week to get through, Labor Day weekend, holiday weekend, so we got that. But other than that, we've got real football approaching. Viking season. What is going on? Let's get some shout outs right out the bat. Nephew JJ. Oh, I got to send you an email, JJ. I'll get that to you as soon as I'm done with this one here before we get started. And like I said, I'll get you in at about 9:30 Eastern time. But Mike, how are you this evening, sir?
Honestly, Justin, I'm good. I'm glad the preseason's over because, man, the Vikings clearly don't care to win preseason games.
No.
And at this point, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't really care to watch them. Though I've been doing it to myself, it's painful. But, yeah, I'm excited for week one.
Me too. Kevin, for the preseason will continue for at least one more year. I was hoping to retire the bit. But at the end of the day, the Vikings looked really good in that first part of the first quarter, getting out to a quick 14-0 lead. Solid first drive. Got the turnover. Great blitz by Jay Ward, forcing the fumble. Vikings recover one play later in the end zone, 14-0. It's like, okay, we're finally going to win this game. Well, then they proceeded to get outscored 18-3 for the rest of the game. Greg Joseph misses a 54-yard field goal. Jaron Hall, great throw, just about a step and a half too far. Should have ran for it, but that's all right. It's preseason. It's not the end of the world. So give us your final thoughts, potpourri, whatever you want on the Cardinals game in the preseason in general.
Okay, well, first off, as we alluded to, there was some positives for the preseason where the defense, I looked into it, they only allowed a combined 17 points in the first half. And ultimately, that's what matters. The guys who are playing, no disrespect, in the second half are traditionally going to get cut in these games, especially the last one. None of those guys are realistically making the roster.
Right.
So that was, I think, a nice thing to show that I do think they will take a step up defensively this season. Do I think they will be anything close to the 2017 Vikings defensively? Absolutely not. Do I think they will be a respectable unit? I think so. I think they'll be a decent defense. On the preseason, I think, obviously, Ivan Pace was the huge winner. He impressed every game he played. I don't know if he's a starter, but, man, what an absolute pickup as an undrafted free agent. And on to Jaron Hall, because I guess we got to get there at some point. Man, just too inconsistent for me. I know that a lot of people want to clip it, the nice throws that he has here and there, and he's had some nice moments, but for every good moment, I feel like he has three bad ones, and that's just the way I look at it.
So what would he have had to do for you to be intrigued? Because I'll ask you that question before I rebuttal you, but what exactly were your expectations? What threshold did he have to meet for you to have a different opinion of he's just a guy and he'll never be anything and he shouldn't be guaranteed a roster spot, as you have said on record? What would he have had to do to not be classified that way, Mike?
I just feel like he's not put together solid drives when they're in the lead. And I get it's preseason, but at the end of the day, it's not preseason in the sense of the result for some of these guys. And when you are the quarterback, when you've been in the lead every single time you've stepped on the field at some point, it doesn't look great when you're losing all three of those games. And again, as we talk about all the time, do I think it's all on Jaron Hall that we've lost all three of these preseason games? No. Do I think he's absolutely played a part in it? For sure he has. And the Cardinals game really bothered me, Justin, because he starts out really good, right? The Dwayne McBride finishes off their first drive, scores a touchdown, great start. Jay Ward forces a fumble and on a Clay Tune completely lights him out. Up into another dimension. Then a really nice pass by Jaron Hall to Abram Smith for the touchdown to go up 14-0. It's just like you've got to put that game away to some extent. And I get Gray Joseph missed a field goal. I get that. But Matt Prater also missed a field goal and an extra point. So he did worse than Greg Joseph. So we can't even use that as a reason why they lost the game. I just feel like Jaron Hall in the second half has been so poor in these games. And I get the team around him has not been good. I get that. I just feel like he needs to show that he could do more with less. And I just don't feel like he's done that whatsoever.
All I'm going to say is this. Two things. One, if the Vikings had done what some of us dreamed to do, which was trade a bunch of first-round picks to move up to get Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson looked like that, like exactly like Jaron Hall looked, I would say, oh, wow. We traded all these picks, and he was billed to be this mega athlete, and that's what we've got. That's not a good look. I would still say that doesn't mean it's the end-all, be-all after one spring, one summer, one training camp, and 3 preseason games. But he would have been a first-round pick that you traded a bucket load to get. Jaron Hall was a 5th-round pick that you took a flyer on. I'm saying my expectations of Jaron Hall were pretty much met. They were not exceeded, and they did not fall short. He is a 5th-round rookie. He's going to have moments like that. You're asking a 5th-round rookie to elevate 3rd-string offensive linemen and 3rd-string wide receivers? I guess, to me, I don't quite understand, and that's fine. We can disagree. It's no big deal, but I don't understand what your expectation level for him was. We have seen abysmal 3rd-string quarterbacks on this team for decades. And Jaron Hall, I'm not sitting here saying that Jaron Hall is on the fast track to the Hall of Fame and that he's locked into being our starter next year. And it doesn't matter what the Vikings do this year. We've got our guy. I'm not saying all of that. But what I am saying is if your expectation was anything more than what we saw, I don't understand how you would, not you, the collective you.
Sure.
And how, as a collective, the expectations could have been any higher than that. Yes, it would have been nice for him and the wide receiver to be on the same page. You know, last year when it's Jalen Reagor stopping on a route and Kirk Cousins throwing a pick 6, we blame the wide receiver. You know, the people that want to say that Jaron Hall is just whatever. Oh, well, that's a terrible throw. Like, they didn't appear to be on the same page. Now, again, I'm not making a big deal out of that pick because it's a preseason interception. Who cares? All I'm saying is that I don't think I'm at the point to be prepared to say he's on the fast track to greatness, but I'm also not prepared to say that I've seen enough. He'll never amount to he very well might not amount to anything. You very well could be right. But to say, just cut him, and if we get him back on the practice squad. No, Kevin O'Connell said it himself. Part of the reason they weren't involved in the Trey Lance discussion was because they've put time and energy, and they like what they're seeing from this guy. So, I mean, I'm just saying again, to me, he met my expectations. He didn't exceed them, but he didn't fall short of them. It would have been nice to see a little bit more. I agree with you, but we always say, you know, it's not just one element of a team that gets off to a 14-0 lead and then doesn't end up winning the game. You know, the defense gave up what should have been, 20 points. If they don't miss the extra point, they would then have kicked the second one, so they wouldn't have gone for 2, but you get the point. All I'm saying is that I think to be that dismissive of a 5th-round quarterback after 3 preseason games and 1 training camp. Now, again, if this was, say, we signed him off the scrap heap after a different team cut him and he looked that way, sure, this is his rookie season. But that's just me. But we'll find out. We'll see. Because to me, obviously Kirk Cousins has missed but 1 game. Well, 2. One was they just didn't play him because it was the year and the seedings had already been figured out. One was non-football injury, was the COVID thing. But he's 35 years old. And if Kirk Cousins does miss some time, I say it like this. If it's like 2-3 games, yeah, you go with Nick Mullins. But if he suffers a season-ending injury, I put Jaron Hall in there and let him sink or swim and find out what you got. Because this team ain't going anywhere with Nick Mullins for more than 2 or 3 games. I'd like to know what we have. That way, one of us can be proved right and one of us can be proved wrong. What do you agree with
Oh,
that?
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize for that. I agree with that notion, mind you. Justin, if knock on wood, I don't want that to happen. If
Right,
something horrible happened and Kirk was abducted by aliens, I genuinely think, and that's the way I like to talk about it, because I hate talking about injuries. But if something bad did happen, you're going with Jaron Hall would be the right decision, because I want to tank, and I know he will tank us down really, really bad and quickly, and then we could start talking about Caleb Williams if it happened early enough, which would be wild. But that's neither here nor there, and that's a completely different discussion in its own right. But with Hall, I just feel like I don't even want him over a guy who just recently got cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars, former BC Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke, who lit up the preseason. I think that's what bothered me, Justin, is not that I think Jared Hall is the worst quarterback I've ever watched, but when you draft a guy, I want to see something on a consistent basis. And if it's not for Jay Ward forcing out that fumble, the Vikings would have scored. What would have it been? They would have scored 10 points on offense.
What the Vikings' offensive possession would have been if they had just sacked the guy, or if the Cardinals had recovered the fumble and then would have been punting out of their own end zone, and we get the ball, let's say the 50-yard. We don't know how that drive would have went. They might have still scored on that drive. We can't say they wouldn't have scored 7 points on that drive. We don't know one way or the other. I
guess. And I mean, I'm not gonna.
Sub drop shot.
I just feel like, obviously, this is a discussion we're clearly never going to agree on, and like you said, that's fine. So that's what you do content for. If you agree on everything, you'll be the most boring show on human history, right? So you don't want that either. I just feel like I would like to see someone else come in and be QB3, because I don't feel like if he has to play a game, it's going to go well at all, and I think he would get completely destroyed by starters, because I just feel like he can't do it against lower level talent. What would he actually do against the Kenny Clarks of the world, the Aiden Hutchinson? I think he'd get eaten alive, but that's just me.
Well, let's move on from Jaron Hall, because again, I don't want to talk too much tonight about that. We're going to quickly go through our schedule, picking games for the Vikings here. Any other notable bubble players that you want to address that you think, oh, I really want this guy to make the roster, or I really think that this guy's gone besides Jaron Hall? But jokes aside, any key names that you want to bring up to the audience here about what you think is going to happen by this time tomorrow?
So I'll keep it internally based off the way you answered that. Guys, I want to keep. That's a good question. I feel like, man, Jalen Reagor. I think 6 wideouts. I don't know if that's a bold take. I want to keep 6 wideouts. Powell, Reagor, and Naylor with KJ, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I think I want to keep those 6. Aside from that, it's going to be interesting. I do want to talk about the Darian Lowe thing down the line. I think we will, but it's interesting what we're going to do. But the 6 wideouts is my main takeaway. That's what I want to see tomorrow.
All right, so you would then have Tristan Jackson as on your cut list?
Yeah, put him on the practice squad. I don't think he'll get poached.
If I knew for a fact he wouldn't get poached, I would do it. But if not knowing that for a fact, I think he's one that you should really consider keeping. And I know it's a crowded room, and a couple of people have suggested that, the reason that Jalen Reagor played yesterday was to get him some good looks and hopefully find somebody to bite on just sending a 7th round pick for him. But I really like Jackson. I really think he has developed and improved over the course of camp. I really think he would be a solid gunner on special teams. And I just want to see him get an opportunity. I think he's done enough. I mean, you're saying that you think they can slip him through the practice squad, though, huh?
I do. I could be wrong. I just feel like it's not worth cutting Reagor. Now, different discussion. If you could trade him,
yeah.
I'm not opposed to keeping Tristan Jackson as wide receiver 6 if you can get an asset for Reagor, but you can't cut him. It's just not worth it.
No, that part I agree with. You've got to find somebody to take him off your hands. That's $2.5-3 million of dead money. And you don't save a dime for it, and there's no offset language. So if somebody else picks him up, that's dead in the water. That's a sunk cost. So I agree. I'm just saying that I really want Tristan Jackson to get a roster spot on this team. And if he does end up getting cut, I really hope that nobody else poaches him. Go ahead and let's get this trade talk out of the way here. You brought him up just a moment ago. You liking this move with Lowe getting traded? You don't like this move? What are your thoughts?
I do like the trade of Adarian Lowe to the New England Patriots for a sixth for multiple reasons. It's something Rick Spielman would never do. Move off an asset when you know he's not going to be, relevant to your roster. You get the pick back that you spent on him in the first place, which was a sixth rounder.
Right.
And my main takeaway from this trade, and this might be bold, Justin, but like I said, I have a Don Reisner picture saved to my phone. So I think Blake Brendel is going to convert back to tackle. I think they realize that experiment is not worth it. For the love of God, I hope that's the case. Move him back to tackle and bring in Don Reisner. End this song and dance and stop playing around with your guard play.
Shout out GG Sports in the building. What's going on, boys? Thanks for joining us. And after the show, head on over to GG Sports for their live at 7, and then head on back to Purple and Gold for days at 8 o'clock, give or take, for mine as well. All right, let's just throw this up there. Mike, why should we keep Andrew Booth?
Almost like he knows from the group chat that I love Andrew Booth so much. Obviously, we should not keep Andrew Booth. I'm assuming that's Jamie messaging, but I could be wrong. I just feel like he's bad. Like he did it again, Justin. He got cooked in the preseason. Mm-hmm. Again, he looks lost out there. I don't know how he's so bad. Like it's honestly kind of incredible from the player he was at Clemson, where he was an athletic freak, and he wasn't injured this off season. Really, he was pretty healthy, and he's been brutal. I do not think he should roster. Do I think they will keep him just like I think they will keep Jaron Hall? Yeah, I don't have to be happy about it, though, because guys like Desmond King, Greedy Williams, stop playing around. You know he's not good enough to be on this football team, if we're being honest, because he can't play special teams.
No, you really can't. I agree with Davey Chains. Just want to see the guy stay healthy. That's a very, very good point. Here's the deal. If Andrew Booth Jr. wasn't a second-round pick, he probably would be cut already, if I'm being honest with you. I think right now, his plot armor, so to speak, and the only reason he's still around, in my opinion, is the fact that he was taken in the second round. I've said it for months. My expectations for him are 0, and if we find anything, it's called found money. It's no disrespect to the guy as a person. I'm just saying as I evaluate the team, if I evaluate his play, his injury history, yeah, it's not a good look for Kwesi. I mean, he rolled the dice. He said, you know what, this guy has a first-round talent, and I'm going to see if I, can get him in the second round, is what he did. And ultimately, he's just kind of, he's just not it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something positive to say about Andrew Booth Jr., and at the moment, I just simply can't. But
they rolled the dice and got snake eyes. It just is what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's go through the schedule here real quick. Are you ready, Mike? Any other final points that you want to make before?
No, let's get into real football that actually matters. Right. Let's do it.
All right, so first off, we need to make some adjustments so that we can – oh, hold on just a quick moment here. Nope, went the wrong way. Let's get rid of production value, ladies and gentlemen. Production value. I digress. All right, we're going to move them down here so we can see the logos. And maybe we can, that's what we'll do. We'll make them just a little bit so we can get them in there like that. All right, here we go. Vikings host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 1. Baker Mayfield's been named the starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just lost their center for the entire season, Brian Jensen. So I got this one as a win, aside from the fact that pretty much everybody from Purple and SKOL'd Media, besides you and me, will be at that game. Rap, SK, Dave, GG, Yogi, JJ Vikes. I got this one as a win, Mike. What say you?
First off, I got to get JJ on my show at some time. I love that kid. But
I'm sure he'll do it.
On to this game. I don't want to say it's a trap game. I don't want to go crazy. And I do think we should win. But we better not let Baker Mayfield get hot early, because if he does, he's one of those weird quarterbacks where if he's on, he can put on a really good performance depending on the week. And he had a really good preseason. And he was a former number 1 pick. Like, I think a lot of people like to forget that the guy has talent. Now, he had a horrible season last year at Carolina. But we do need to take this game seriously. We cannot disrespect the Bucs, as we've talked about for years. Do not disrespect your opponent, because the minute you do that, you are going to lose. I will say, though, Justin, bold take, Jordan Addison goes for 100 yards in his debut.
Oh, I'm already on record saying that he will have at least 144 combined total yards rushing and receiving.
Wow. So I guess we see eye to eye on that. I think he's have a massive debut. I really do.
144, as in how fast he was driving his Lamborghini. But I digress. All right, Mike and I each got him winning the first game, so we got him at 1-0. Oh, great. I had this thing. I wanted, you know what? Maybe if I put it on the ticker, maybe it won't be so covering my face up like that. Again, production value. Should have thought of this ahead of time. But anyway, let's get out of this. Let's try this. All right, that one's not so bad. I guess I'll just have to sit up a little bit higher. All right, Mike has got us at 1-0. I have got us at 1-0. Do we need to spend a whole lot of time on this one, Mike? Do we?
One letter, L. We're going to lose this game unless there's a miracle that – no, we're losing this football game. I don't see us going into Philadelphia and winning. Let's leave it at that.
All right, we're not going to take time on this because we want to get in and out of these as much as we can and actually have some analysis for games we actually have a chance of winning. Week number 3, the Vikings coming off the mini bye week 50-50 game at home against the AFC Vikings. That is the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert. I think this is going to be another close game. I think the Vikings are going to win comfortably against Tampa Bay. I think they're going to lose to Philadelphia by at least 17 points. This game I have as a 3-point victory for the Vikings. I'm going to give them the slight. If this game was in LA, I'd probably pick the Chargers, but the Vikings coming off the mini bye, I'll give them the edge. What say you, Mike?
Well, if it was in LA or Minnesota, it'd be a home game for us anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
That's
I think we will eke this game out, but it is going to be a high-scoring football game unless this defense really shows us something we did not see last season. I hope to be wrong. I don't have ridiculously high hopes for this defense. I think they'll be okay, but that's about it. I think the Vikings win this game by like a field goal.
Vikings win by a field goal, so we are each at 2-1. Mike, we're agreeing too much. Let me get some shout-outs real quick. We got our guy Rap in here. Yes, if you guys want to put your records in as we are going about this, by all means, feel free to do so. Let's see. Also, Mike Evans looking to have a bounce-back year, but Drop Shot Jake says it's a W one way or the other. So, yeah, we are up to game. We've just completed through 3 games. So, starting with game 4, put your records in there if you would want, and we'll get those up on the screen here for you. Next up, I think, this thing came in out of order. We don't have the Kansas City Chiefs next. We have the Carolina Panthers next. Let's slide that up there. All right, on the road, Adam Thielen revenge game, Mike. What are you looking for on this one?
You know what? I'm going to change it up. This game has worried me. You knew this from the minute the schedule came out.
Wow.
I'm actually going to say loss. I don't know why. I feel like it's the vintage Vikings trap game where it's a team on paper will probably be favored to beat and we just don't beat. I really, really worry about Brian Burns and this Carolina defense. And I think Bryce Young on this defense, I think he could cook us really bad. I'm not saying it will be a big Adam Thielen game. If anything, I think it might be a big Miles Sanders game. I get the heebie-jeebies about this game. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to say Panthers by a field goal.
The Vikings will destroy the Panthers by at least 17 points. Adam Thielen will get a touchdown. He'll do a gritty in honor of his buddy JJ, but no, the Vikings will not be slipping up here. But I hear what you're saying, and I might have something similar to say in a couple of moments here. Do we need to spend a whole lot of time? Do the Vikings have any shot of getting into a shootout with one Patrick Mahomes, who is looking to get his 31st win over his 31st team, so to speak? The Vikings are the only team he hasn't played and the only team he hasn't beat. What do you say to this one here, Mike?
I don't think we're going to win, but I do need to touch on this. If Kirk Cousins beats the Chiefs and the Bengals, he would have beaten every NFL team. What a story it would be. I do think, though, if we were to beat the Chiefs, it's because we're at home. We know the Chiefs have one of these weird games every year on the road. Last year was in Indianapolis. They lost. They nearly lost in Houston. If you are going to beat the Chiefs, it is on the road. I'm not going to bet any money or anything monetary value against Patrick Mahomes, but it would not completely shock me if the Vikings pull the miracle here because it's at home, but they will lose.
So just to be clear, Mike has got them at 2-3, and I have them at 3-2 through 5 games. Now, the Vikings go to Soldier Field in October, as in not December or January. Mike, what are you going to say about this one here?
Justin Fields is going to throw at least 2 interceptions. Vikings win by double digits in a win that I think quiets a lot of Bears fans, and that will warm my heart, Justin. It really will, with the amount of trash talk I've heard from Bears fans on social media.
Well, Mike, all of those points you made about the Carolina Panthers, this is a game that the Vikings absolutely on paper should win, but it's Soldier Field, and the Vikings, even in 2009, found a way to lose to Jay Cutler and the Chicago Bears. I know they won last year in Week 18 in an utterly meaningless game when the Bears were tanking. I'm just saying this is the game that the Vikings slip up on, losing a game that they have no business losing to. We're back to even at 3-3. You got them losing to the Panthers. I have them losing to the Chicago Bears, but for the same reasons. What's going on? Who else is in there? What's up, Julian? Shout out Julian in the building. What's going on, Julian? Good to see you guys. Mary says they beat the Chiefs. Okay, Mary, you know what? 6-pack of Coors for you if we end up beating those Chiefs. Okay. I mean, listen, I would love it. And we would be on it. If we beat the Chiefs, I'm changing my pick and we then beat Chicago. Although it would be so Vikings to beat the Chiefs and then lose to Chicago.
It would be.
I digress. And you're right. The Philly game is on prime time. Here's my problem with the Chiefs game, though, Mary. It's a 3:25 start. It's not a noon start. And it's on CBS with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. And we always lose when they're calling our games, even when we have
badly too. It's not even close.
Yes, unfortunately, it's pretty bad here. All right, we got a swing game here. This is one of the swing games here. We got the San Francisco 49ers at home, Monday Night Football, right? It's a Monday Night Football game.
Yes.
All right, yep. Monday Night Football. Who you got? What do you say?
Brock Purdy, masterclass, Niners by 10.
I said Niners by 7. So you're even more negative on it than I am. I thought you were going to make a case for the Vikings to win. Yeah, our compatriot Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk thinks that Brock Purdy against Kirk Cousins. No, their defensive line against our offensive line.
But Brock Purdy,
our offensive line against their offensive line against our defensive line.
Yes, that too.
San Francisco.
But Brock Purdy deserves some respect. That kid could play. Like, it's seriously play. Like, I think he's a really good quarterback who's going under the radar. But anyway, I digress.
So I didn't think, Mike, come on, you got to start this. Well, don't disagree with me on this one, because I'm going to start off with the next one here. Because if you haven't seen my video on Purple and Gold for Days, it's the first video on the main page. It's called Curmudgeon versus Punk, where you see both my optimistic and pessimistic side. And this game was my favorite game to pick, because the curmudgeon made it look like he was going to pick the Packers, only to trick the Punk into saying the Vikings will destroy the Packers in Lambeau Field. Jordan Love will be shown to be the fraud that he is. He's just okay. Mike disagrees. I'd rather have Jaron Hall than Jordan Love right now, if only for the fact that they're about the same level, and Jaron Hall is starting his rookie contract and Jordan Love is ending it. We don't have to go down that road, Mike. We all know you disagree, but what do you say about this game? How's this game going to end up?
Before I get into that, pessimistic versus optimistic, check that video out, everybody. It's so well done. Watch it. It's absolutely worth your time. No worries. On this game, I think the Vikings, going into Lambeau early in the year, I think is a good thing. It's not going to be snowing. It's not going to be windy. It's not going to be crappy weather. I think we win by double digits. I think this is the moment Viking fans could finally have, a breath of fresh air, saying we finally do not play against Pro Bowl quarterbacks anymore. And Jordan Love is definitely a step down.
Yes.
And it should be a nice win.
All righty. So at this point, both Mike and I have the Vikings at 4 wins and 4 losses. It is a bet. You dang Skippy. Hey, I don't care how I get those to you, Mary. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I keep forget. Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to move me over here a little bit. I know it's not exactly the coolest look in the world, but just in case, I do put some comments up there. But, Mary, I will find a way to get you a 6-pack. I don't care if I got to ship it, or I'll get you a gift certificate to your local brewery, whatever the case may be. But I will take that whatsoever. All right, next up on the extravaganza, the Vikings continue a stretch. Now you got the last 2 games against the South. We going back to Atlanta to face the Dirty Birds. I'll start off with this. The Vikings win by 17 or more. Mike, what say you?
I think the Vikings definitely win this game, but they play former Minnesota Vikings quarterback Taylor Heineke. Desmond Ridder will be benched before this game is played.
All right. Well, either way, I see the Vikings winning that game rather easily. So we now have them both at 5-4. This could be an interesting one here. The New Orleans Saints are my pick to win the NFC South. I think they're the best of that lousy division. I see nothing from Carolina, Atlanta, or Tampa Bay. So I think they're going to win this division. No Sean Payton, no Drew Brees for the first time in US Bank Stadium, the first time in a long time facing the Saints. No, we faced them in London last year, but you get my point. First time in US Bank Stadium without one of those two guys. What say you, Mike? I'll let you get this one started.
All right, so we're playing Steve Jordan's son, Cameron Jordan, the most wonderful Vikings lover of all time. I mean, never puts down Kirk Cousins every chance he gets by any means or anything like that. Man, what a sore loser. Anyway, but he's going to continue to lose against Kirk Cousins, so he'll have even more ammunition to be more angry the next time he talks about him at a football camp. Vikings by 7, and I think this is a Johnny Munt touchdown game. I don't know why I got that feeling off the top of my head, but he gets a touchdown every couple of weeks. Once in a while, this is going to be a game he catches one.
All righty. So we are still even. We have a difference of opinion on which one of those 4 games we lose, but we still got them at 6-4. Sunday Night Football. Here's a guy in Chris Collinsworth who never says anything negative about anybody. All seriousness, all jokes aside, Mike, you start this one.
Since you brought up Chris Collinsworth, I never get the opportunity to get this on my chest. The worst commentator of all of them on primetime. But anyway, and that's really saying something because I don't love Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on Monday Night Football, but they're far better and at least professional. Anyway, I think we defeat Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Russ does not cook. He continues to burn all the food that he does cook on the field. I think we win this game probably by 1 score because Denver's defense is extremely underrated. They're a very good unit, so they're going to make it tough. But almost kind of like, Justin, if you can remember that game we played last year against Miami where it was an ugly victory, I think we'll win it like that, where maybe we don't deserve to win it, but both teams didn't play well, and we're the victor. I think the Vikings beat the Broncos.
Well, Mike, I hate to disappoint you, but I'm still going. As much as I can't stand Mr. Unlimited. Now, he's unlimited. I think Sean Payton is going to have a little something for Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson has completely fallen off the cliff the way he did with Nathaniel Hackett last year. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is going to have a career revival year with Sean Payton, but I do think Sunday Night Football on the road in Denver. Yeah, I think this is one where the Vikings slip up. So going into the bye week, ladies and gentlemen, Mike's got him at 7-4. I've got him at 6-5. Who's got some comments in the, let's see, who do we got here? Drop Shot, Jay. We're beating the Packers by 20. Yes, here's what I said, Drop Shot. I said the Vikings are going to sweep the Packers, and their combined point differential for both games will be at least 28 points. They are going to destroy the Packers, not once, but twice. But I digress. Okay, next up on the extravaganza, out of the bye week, Justin Fields coming to US Bank Stadium. I'll start it off. Vikings will beat the Bears by at least 10 points. They're not slipping up. They're not getting swept by the Bears. They might not lose the first game, but, I can't just keep picking all the easy games. But, Mike, your thoughts on the second game coming out of the bye against the Chicago Bears? Excuse me, going into the bye. I beg your pardon.
Get the brooms out. We're sweeping the Bears, just like we did last season. I genuinely don't believe that Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I think he's okay. I think he's extremely overhyped right now, and I think that will come to roost this season, and we will see that. Where Brian Flores and his scheme will get to him, not only in Soldier Field, but at home, and he'll make a couple, I don't want to say rookie mistakes, but, poor decisions, and the Vikings will win this game by 10.
Shout out to Norpheus in the building. He's saying what the hell. I don't know what he's saying what the hell to, but put it in there, Norpheus. What is it that you're saying what the hell to? We're picking the schedule here. So going into the bye, I screwed it up. I got 7-5. Mike's got 8-4. I knew I was off somewhere there, but all right, let's move on with the rest of the extravaganza. Out of the bye week, we've got the Raiders and we've got the Bungles after that. We're both going win-loss here. We're just going to speed this up a little bit, Mike. I go win against Raiders, loss against Bengals. Is that what you got?
No. We're beating the Bengals.
Whoa!
this is the game I think we make a statement. Kirk Cousins finally beats the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is the moment where at least fans will say that this team has talent. I don't know how it's going to amount by the end of the season, but they will beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I said this for last couple of years where we matched the Bengals quite well, and that's why we played them well a couple of years ago, the year they went to the Super Bowl, where defensively they're solid, but they don't got stars across the board. I like Trey Hendrickson. They lost Jesse Bates. That will hurt them. And though they have Cameron Taylor-Britt as well in their secondary, I think the Vikings steal this game. And I think it's one where a lot of people are put on notice by Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. They get the job done by a field goal. And this time, it doesn't send us to overtime with Greg Joseph. It sends us off as winners.
I hope you're right. I don't see it happening. Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback. Regardless of how much of improvement we do defensively, I'm sorry. On the road in September. Northfius, I got something for you come about 8:05, brother. I got something for you. Who is this? Ice-T. Yeah. Leave that bit to Sarah, but I digress. All right. No, I haven't beaten the Raiders. I am losing to the Bengals. I'm sorry. They're not going on the road to beat Joe Burrow. Sorry. It's not going to happen. All right. Last 3 games of the year. We got the Lions at home. I'm going to say the Vikings win this game. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that the Lions are going to be fighting for a wild card, but I don't think that they're going to come into US Bank Stadium and beat us. And I don't care that they had us on the ropes last year. You know what? Having us on the ropes ain't quite enough. You want to know what? The Giants had us on the ropes and they delivered the knockout punch. You didn't. You made all these moves this offseason. That's all well and good. Congratulations. We're happy for you. Now the Vikings winning this game, Mike. What do you got?
I think they will beat the Detroit Lions here. And it'll be close, but I think we steal it because we're at home.
That puts Mike up to 11-4. Are you serious, Mike? 11-4? Okay, we'll run this tape back. New Year's Eve, the Green Bay Packers will be destroyed again. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just going to save it for those weeks. Vikings sweep the Packers. Mike, what say you?
They sweep the Packers. Again, I ain't buying Jordan Love. Would I be shocked if we split with the Packers? No, I wouldn't. But from what we've seen as of today, he's not a very good quarterback. He's just okay. Until proven otherwise, I'm not buying into the Packers beating us either time we play them.
All righty. I have the Vikings losing to this game in Detroit because I believe at this point in the season, they will have already locked up the 3 seed and will have no chance at the 2 seed. So they are going to rest Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Maybe not all of their starters. And again, last year, they didn't rest them. They minusculely had a shot going into the start of the game, but they really didn't. We all knew that at the time. Having said that, I do believe this year the Vikings will have their seating locked up. We'll go like 2019 and rest their players. Mike, you got them at 12-4. Are you to tell me they're going to get back to 13, Mike?
I've got a couple surprises for you.
Oh, boy.
This game will be for the NFC North.
No.
We're going to lose. The Detroit Lions are going to go 13-4, and we're going to be a 12-5 wild card team.
Wow. Mike, believing in the Motor City Kitties. I never thought I'd hear you say it. But all right. We will play this tape back once or twice over the course of the season. Let's get the final tallies up here. I've got them again at 10-7. Mike's got them at 12-5. And yes, later on tonight, after I start my show and I bring JJ on, we're going to do this again. We'll see. For those of you who are here and are going to be at SKOL'd for Days, if I come up with something different than 10-7, y'all better call me out on it because I'm not generally a type that's going to go on one show and say 10-7 and on another show say 12-5. And if one of those two numbers hits, say, hey, here's the tape where I said they were going to do it. But jokes aside, put your records in the comments here one last time if you'd like. If Packers, let's get this comment up from North. In fact, let's switch it back to the regular banner so that we can get our heads above water, so to speak, here. And I can get these comments up without being covered up here. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Well, we'll just do that for now. Yeah, we'll do that one. If Packers hit on 3 in a row, I'll believe in conspiracy theories. Yes, Northfius, that is correct. That's not going to happen, but you are correct. If that were to happen, we'd never hear the end of it.
No,
we would never hear
wouldn't.
the end of it. We would absolutely never hear the end of it.
Justin, I believe you watched Breaking Bad, right? Just based off
Oh,
your
yes.
Walter White
Yes.
reference last year with Mike White. So
Yeah.
Packer fans are already pulling out the scene where Jesse Pinkman is in Walter's house saying he can't keep getting away with this. And they're actually trying to say that Jordan Love is going to be their third consecutive quarterback. That is a Hall of Fame worthy quarterback. Keep dreaming. I cannot wait for reality to set into that fan base in particular, because they've had it coming for a long, long time.
They need to be put back into the Stone Age. They need to be put back to the 70s and 80s and have a couple of decades of misery. With all that being said, programming note for the rest of this week and moving on. Tomorrow on Purple and SKOL'd Media, 8 o'clock Eastern, you've got SKOL Live with Rappin' Dave. Thursday, you got GG Sports doing the Purple Parlay. I am candidly not sure what's happening with the Saturdays. I believe SK Rap and Yogi are going to be doing a show this Saturday, but I do not know that for absolute certainty, being that it is Labor Day weekend. I'm assuming they're still going. Next week, there will be no Day with Mike and Kyla because it is Labor Day, and I've got some traveling duties to attend to. So unfortunately, that is why we did our pick'ems this episode. And ultimately, we would be breaking down the pick'ems, and we would be breaking down the Tampa Bay game anyway. So we kind of just did that here already. As far as the rest of this week, Purple and Gold for Days, 8 o'clock Central Time. So come on back in 40 minutes after I take my little dinner break, and we'll be breaking down some more of the final preseason game that myself, Yogi, my dad, my daughter, and et al. Were in attendance for. It was looking great for the first half of the first quarter, but I digress. I'll be doing some of my 53-man projection. I don't do projections, but a couple of comments on a couple of players that I think are going to be interesting, to say the least. JJ Vikings will be joining me at about 8:30-ish Central Time. He and I are going to go through the schedule. He's going to give his breakdown on the Arizona Cardinals game as well. And then tomorrow night, Dave and I, under the lights, 6:30 Central Time on Minnesota Sports Talk and Purple and Gold for Days. We will at that point have the final 53-man. We will discuss what we liked, what we didn't like, and who we think, even though they made the 53-man, is still on the bubble in case there's somebody else that they want to sign. So as always, hit the like buttons. If you don't already subscribe to Purple and SKOL'd Media, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the way out. And if you could, go on over to Purple and Gold for Days, hit that like button and ring that notification bell. I'll be back on at 8 o'clock. There's the announcements for the schedule. Mike, any final thoughts before we get up out of here for our next couple? Next time we'll be on, the Vikings will be 1-0.
I do have one, and I wanted to touch on it at some point. So this is the last chance I got. Does Justin Jefferson sign an extension before week 1?
I would say 60-40, yes. I've already gone on record saying that I think the TJ Hawkinson thing will be done before week 1, although I said that about a week and a half ago before this reset the market stuff came out. I'm still holding to the fact that TJ Hawkinson will be done. Again, I'm not as worried about JJ because, again, he's still got 2 years left on his deal. It doesn't have to be done before week 1. This ain't the last year of his contract. But I'll say 60-40 to the yes. What say you?
I'm going to go bold here, Justin. I actually don't think they're going to get a Hawkinson extension done this offseason.
Oh.
And JJ will actually get done this year, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought it would be the opposite. Like you said, you don't need to pay Jefferson, but for some reason, I think they're going to push some of the money even further into an extension into this year, and they're not going to pay Hawkinson, which I thought was a foregone conclusion, really. Had you asked me that 2 weeks ago, I 100% think they would have paid him, but it is what it is. But I do think Justin Jefferson is signed to a massive extension before we destroy the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All righty, sounds like a plan. Shout out Bandino, got in at the last minute. Hey, just hit that rewind button. Just click it on back to the beginning and come on back to my channel at 8 o'clock. What's good? Well, we just went through the whole schedule. You know what? I should have taken the ticker down for you, Bandino. That way you didn't see the results and you would have had some drama in there. But we talked a little bit about Arizona, talked a little bit about some of the moves that the Vikings are going to be making in the next 24 hours. And then we went through the schedule there. But come on back to my show at 8 o'clock. I'll be on for a half an hour, and then JJ Vikings will be joining us. And we're going to get that young man another shot at the mic here. So, but thank you, everybody, kindly for joining us this evening. As I said, hit the like buttons on the way out and come on back at 8 o'clock. As always, the goal of this show, we just want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl just one time before we die. More than that would be great, but we're only asking for one because we ain't seen them play in the Super Bowl in our lifetimes yet. We will see you later on this evening over on Purple and Gold for Days for Skol for Days. But until now, Skol Vikes, and have a good evening.
Skol.